Incidentally, this marble table comes from Singapore. It's a fantastic addition to this country home in Cornwall. Put my tripod around me and run out.
We couldn't wish for a better day.
Yeah.
This is ludicrous how good it is.
Since it's so bright, I think, and I know my kids will struggle to get up this little mount, I think I'm just going to go up that mount. Just for old time's sake. Watched the eclipse up there many years ago. I'm told this used to be an oven. I guess I was supposed to double up as a post box, but no postman has ever left post in there for us. It's quite cold in the shadow. Please shut the gate. No cows. Getting this thing level is insane. I once come across a fellow who was jumping between these mossy rocks like a golem. And it turns out he's studying, you know, the moss, the lichen, whatever it's called. And he said this sort of bank of rocks, some of the finest moss he's ever seen. This stuff is actually quite soft. It's like a bed. I know this rock had all these like lines. Quite beautiful, right? This is the moor, Bodmin moor. I love these cobwebby things, the way it captures all the dew. Looks like a drop of snow or something. I love these moor trees, the way that they are windswept and go in a particular direction. There's some other fine examples over here. Can you see those? This used to be a quarry. I plan to go up there. Let me quickly show you that quarry from above. That's the A30 over there, so this moorland is pretty accessible, except besides the terrible weather you can get up here. There's a lot of, you know, soft spots, there's a lot of granite, there's a lot of grass, there's a lot of holes. So I would say walking on this moorland, on the Bodmin Moor, it's quite dangerous. My mother does it all the time, and I'm trying to tell her how to use the phone without triggering a false alert. I think what you do, she has this lanyard where she keeps her phone on. If she falls in this moor landscape, she should reach for her phone, hopefully, and press the lock button 4 times, and that should trigger an emergency response and send the location of where she is. I hope. This is in fact just the edge of Bodmin Moor. You can see all those pasture land out there. It kind of stretches on for quite a while going that way. Couldn't tell you offhand. You might be wondering what the hell is that pole about. I don't know if you can see it over there. There's actually a shooting range. They hoist a flag when they shoot there. So I guess the idea is that you probably don't want to hang around this area because you might get a stray bullet. I took that too fast, really. I don't know if you can see the ponies over there. They're just wild, I believe. I guess I know that they used to be used in the old mining industry in that quarry, perhaps generations ago. Anyway, they roam free on the moor, and the moor is technically, as I understand it, common land, so anyone can actually put their livestock up here to graze, as long as it doesn't, you know, interfere in anybody else's lives. So it's quite nice, except I guess as pasture land goes, it's not awesome. And of course, how do you track your livestock? So besides all these like nooks and crannies I mentioned, which makes it tricky to cross this moorland, another thing that people don't realize is that there's actually a lot of water. There's a lot of swamp land here, and it's very difficult to know where that land is because it changes quite a lot, in my opinion. I know for a fact that there's probably this part here, just going across here, it looks fine, but when you get closer, that's just unpassable. Even in boots, this is very tricky to cross. So it's quite challenging to move across the moorland fast. I'm in that place which I know is usually quite wet, and it's quite wet. You see what I mean by these like little holes? I mean, a kid could fall in here. This sort of brown brush is also quite an obstacle on the moor. My advice is be patient and look for animal trails, because animals have actually carved little tunnels through these things. So and it's a little bit like a maze, actually. I find it quite fun to try to get through this lot. I just came from over there. One thing when I was younger, I didn't really like the idea of these thorns brushing against my skin and hurting me. And as a grown-ass man, I don't really care anymore if I get a little bit of cuts and scrapes. It's quite fun, makes you feel alive. I've been told that some of these stone walls have been around since the Neolithic periods. And these are an amazing man-made feature to me, carving up the pasture land. Interestingly, there's actually a Roman fortress over there called Bury Castle, and there's hardly anything remaining of it. You can see it's like rough, like round outline, but there's no walls. Yet these pasture land walls have survived, you know, civilizations. There's the church I got married in, Cardinham Church, and behind it is Cardinham Wood. Now, I chat with locals and they tell me that the government wants these pasture lands turned into forests. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Now that everyone wants to plant trees like crazy to meet green initiatives, the farmers are pretty cynical about this, and they feel like they're, they have to do it because they're reliant on subsidies from the government. And the subsidies don't come unless the rules are followed. And the rules basically imply that they need to kill all their livestock and turn their green grass pasture lands into tree land or forests, which is just kind of crazy if you think about it. I do enjoy Cardinham Wood over there, though I must say all the trees feel quite alien compared to the rest of the landscape. It's a managed forest, and they're all that sort of like that particular pine, I guess, that's easy to plant and easy to harvest. So I would hate to see a world that had all these sort of like monocultural foreign trees in this landscape, which in my opinion shouldn't look like that, shouldn't look like Finland, right? For my birthday, I got this 100-pound tripod. I recommend it. It's carbon fiber, and I also bought this Canadian Tilly hat for £70. Had to get it fitted at Country Wise in Wadebridge, and so far I'm loving it. Normally I would say I should have bought a water bottle and a windbreaker, but besides the tripod and my kind of normalish running gear, which is now kind of wet, that's all I bought on this sunny day. Hey guys, what do you think of these windmills? I'm sure you can see them. There's a couple in the distance. Now, funny enough, most people in this area heat their homes with oil, not electricity, because electricity is quite expensive. It's about 17 pence per kilowatt hour here, which is like more than twice the price, I think, is what I'm paying in Singapore. I think perhaps if you had a windmill and you were getting cheaper energy because of it, it would make it more, acceptable. But for right now, from where I stand, I think it kind of blights the landscape, and I wouldn't want one on this moor. When you come off the moor, the climate of Cornwall can be quite tropical out there, so I just noticed this person's garden here. It's quite beautiful, and there's a whole clump of bamboo in there, actually. Do I live in Cornwall? No. Would I live in Cornwall? Probably not. Cornwall, as I understand it, is actually one of the poorest counties in all of England. Blighted again by poor infrastructure, I dare say, and a lot of poor opportunities for young people. So the people that live here are usually just retirees, I dare say, older people, and farmers, of course. One thing I can't capture is just the smells. I really think the fresh air and the smells of the flowers, it's very special here, actually. A lot of people keep chickens and sell eggs. Now, I was talking with a local yesterday, and she was telling me years ago there used to be a truck that used to come to each person's home and collect the eggs and then sell them in the market. But now, free-range eggs requires you to jump in a car and drive around to your neighbors to pick up eggs. I suppose it's kind of good too, you chat with your neighbors and things like this, but it can be a bit tedious and kind of expensive to go around, because you go up here 100 yards and you try and see if someone's in, they're not in, or they might not have eggs, and then you go around to another place. But I mean, there's this is how it is to live like a local here. Most public projects in this area seem to be rather corrupt, I dare say. For example, they built this public bridleway for horses and things like this. But you can see that most of the aggregate that they put down here kind of washed away after like the first month. And if you go up here with the horse, you'll just get to a dead end. So, you know, I know this costs them quite a bit of money, but the council has just done a terrible job. Furthermore, this A30 upgrade over where my parents live, that's been the talk of the town for decades. And they're having to just about redo every meter of it. It's just, I don't know why it's so inept around here. It's just crazy. It's not that common, but there are honesty boxes. And 6 free-range eggs are for £1.25. The local village doesn't have a pub, doesn't have a post office, doesn't have a convenience store, but it does have a snooker table. My dad and I love snooker, in fact, but unfortunately the guy here we didn't get along with very well. He was very old, and I dare say he's dead. I don't think this snooker hall has been used for a long time. There's like a plant growing out of the door, so I don't know what's become of the snooker table. I think I'll make some inquiries to see if I can buy it. I've just been chatting to a local Mike. He tells me this used to be a Cobbler station. I've always wondered what that was. It's a for repairing shoes. I love how in most English villages there is the red post box and of course the old red telephone box. Mike was telling me that people are using them nowadays for like little libraries, putting books and exchanging books, or defibrillators. And he says there's needn't one to be put in here because there's one over by the church. Let's have a quick look. In Singapore, in East Coast Park, a man collapsed and I think was having a heart attack. And I ran off and got the defibrillator. And even though the defibrillator in East Coast Park in Singapore is quite nearby, it did take me quite a few minutes to get back to the site. And in which case, thankfully, there was paramedics there. Now, I later learned that if you don't get a defibrillator on the fella within a few minutes, the sort of life, what do you call it, chances of survival just halve and halve and halve again. So I am a little bit skeptical about these defibrillators in villages because, well, first off, it's not in the red phone box, so I don't know how you're supposed to know it's actually on the side of the church. And here we go. I'm actually not sure how to open it. It's got this code, CC059. Are you supposed to punch in the code? I mean, these things are expensive, and I mean, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I'm not too sure it's going to actually save lives. You know, these other little cheaper inventions, perhaps, you know, like the silver blankets that keep you warm when you get hit by bad weather. I find those things enormously useful, but these things are expensive, you know, error-prone, difficult to use, and of course, I really don't see people getting them on the people that need it fast enough. So, cost-benefit analysis, please. Well, that concludes my little circuit, my walk along the moor and down back through the village. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, please comment below. And sorry, it's not quite my usual tech videos, but I think in the summer holidays, we all should get out, even though it's going to take me ages to edit this bloody video. Enjoy the summer, guys. Bye.